Are you ready to time travel?
Sure. Where are we going?
For this game, we're starting in ancient Egypt.
Wow, that sounds fun.
You'll take on the role of the Black Watch, and I'll play the Golden Hourglass.
Greetings! It is not glory I seek from the shadows, but rather ensuring the integrity of time.
And I, a senior explorer, am a shepherd of the timeline. My sworn duty is to guide all creatures to their own destiny.
Well, how do we get started?
Kim's gonna teach us how to play time division.
Oh, hey Kim! Get ready to travel back to a time of order and belief.
Let's go!
In time division, 2 players will each join a time agency and travel to different periods in history. There, they must influence important characters to gain control of the era and secure their continued existence in the newly formed timeline. Time Division is a 2-player card game that takes 20 minutes per era to play. The game can be played over the course of a single era for a quick game or as a full 3-era campaign. Each era has 2 phases, draft and play. The player with the most total influence points wins the era. Because it's our first time playing, we'll start out with the Ancient Egypt era, familiarizing ourselves with the icons and the card effects before trying out the Dark Ages and the 1980s.
I can't wait.
Choose an era to play. This video focuses on the Ancient Egypt era, but the setup for any single era game will follow the same instructions. First, pick sides and place the board in the center of the table between you. Next, flip the metal coin and put it on the matching space to determine the starting player.
Whoa! That matches my side. Looks like you'll start the game, Joey.
Place the assembled card platforms on their matching spaces following the indicated orientation and color. Take the cards for your chosen era. Remove the 2 time travelers with a star from the deck and return them to the game box. These are only used in a campaign across all 3 eras. Keep those cards in reach because I'm excited to have a time travel campaign adventure with you, Barb. Shuffle the remaining 18 cards and split them into 2 equal stacks. Place 1 stack face down on each of the temporary spaces. There are 5 locations on the board: the independent stack, each player's decision space and temporary space, the past, and each player's influence area where they attempt to bank points during the era. Lastly, players have a hand of cards, which is also considered a location. There are 2 colors used in time division, red and blue. All blue icons refer to you. All red icons refer to your rival.
So no matter who's looking at the card, red always applies to your opponent and blue always affects you.
In the draft phase, players simultaneously draw 3 cards from the stack on their temporary space. Of these 3 cards, choose and distribute cards face down in any order. Place 1 in front of yourself. This is the card that you want to keep and add to your hand. Place 1 card in front of your rival. And place 1 card in the independent stack.
Wasn't there a rule about not looking at face down distributed cards during the draft phase?
That's right. No peeking. Repeat until all 18 era cards are divided equally among you, your rival, and the independent stack. Take all 6 cards in front of you as your hand.
Now it's time to play.
This phase consists of 6 rounds. Each round follows this procedure. The player with the coin plays 1 card from their hand face up to their decision space. Afterwards, the other player plays 1 card from their hand face up into their decision space. Compare the influence value in the top left corner of both cards. Move the coin to the side with the higher influence.
What happens if we play the same number?
If both cards are of the same influence value, the coin stays where it is. The coin owner now decides what happens to the 2 played cards. 1 card's effect is triggered by its owner and is moved to the past. The other card is collected to the influence area of its owner. It's important to remember that triggering a card happens first, before collecting.
I need to know more about what triggering and collecting means before I play my first card.
The effect of the triggered card is resolved by its owner. Each effect row shows from left to right which location a specific card is taken, what you do with it, and where you put it.
I think I get it. And since I go first, I'll play this card. The Carpenter's trigger effect is take a card of your choice from the independent stack and move it to your influence area. Okay, then I'll play the Scribe. But both of us don't get to trigger our cards. Only one of us gets to. And the decision is up to me because I played a 6 and you played a 4.
The standard effect of a triggered card must be completely resolved for the effect to take place. If any requirement cannot be met, the card effect is ignored. You can still choose to trigger such a card for no effect.
So one of us gets to activate our card and the other gains influence points. You've got a tough choice to make. Okay, I'll choose to trigger my card.
After the effect is executed, the card moves from the owner's decision space to the past. The other card is collected by its owner by moving it from their decision space to their influence area.
Which leaves me with collecting my card. Not so fast. Triggering happens before collecting, and the Scribe's effect is take a 4 influence card from your rival's decision space and move it to your influence area. Hey, now I'll put my card in the past.
Repeat this procedure for all cards in hand. Then proceed to the end of an era and scoring. All special effect rows appear on a colored bar. This color indicates the type of effect. Delayed cards have a black bar. Their effect is triggered in the next round and then moved to the past.
For this next round, I'll play the Shepherd. Now would be a good time to play Priest of Anubis. That also gives you the coin because 8 is definitely higher than 0. I want you to trigger your card. This is a delayed effect, so I'll take the Shepherd from my decision space and move it to my temporary space. Next round, after the coin is moved and before any card is triggered, I'll take the card from your decision space and move it to my influence area. That's wild! But at least I get to collect my card this turn. That's 8 points for me.
Check cards have an orange bar. This card requires a condition to be met by a player. If met, orange then activates the effect row under the bar. Modified influence cards have a pink bar, and the icons only apply during scoring and only if the card is rotated. Essentially, it increases the influence value of that card. Orange and pink cards are special cards that appear in the later era decks, the Dark Ages, and the 1980s. An era ends after both players' hands are empty and all cards are resolved. Each player adds up the influence values of all cards in their influence area. The player with the most total influence wins the era. In case of a tie, the player with the coin wins. A campaign is played over the course of 3 eras. You can play any 3 eras in any order. You will track the victory points won in each era on the victory point track using the victory point standee. And players get to incorporate time travelers into their decks for added challenge. After you've played 3 eras, the player with the victory point standee closer to their side wins the campaign. You don't need to learn much, as the symbols on the cards refer to the locations on the board. The effects are relatively easy once you connect the symbols with where cards are placed. I know you'll have a great time playing Time Division.